Hello and welcome to How Are You Holding Up? A mental health podcast by the depressed for the depressed. I'm Lindsey.
And I'm Chris.
And we wanted to start recording a couple weekends ago, I believe, in the new year, but I was diagnosed with COVID-19.
Yay,
And
fun.
but I'm feeling a little bit better, so we wanted to talk with you all about kind of what's been going on with us in our lives and just have a sort of online social gathering. So if you're new or you're returning, welcome back, and welcome for all those of you who have been with us since the beginning. You're like family at this point.
Yeah, no, we've been very much away for the last few months. It's been I'm sure as many of you know, it's not it's not been the greatest year. It's not been the greatest time for most, if not any or all of us. Uh and I mean, really it kind of came down to we were exhausted. Mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, physically.
Yeah. And I think I know that some of you probably have thought of this over listening to, if you've been listening to us for a while, that talking about depression and talking about our mental health and talking about that once a week or once every 2 weeks, it does become difficult to focus on that. And
Mhm.
we needed, when the pandemic hit, we did try. And then it just a lot happened for us and for I think everyone. The world changed and we needed to take a step back from this. And we never had a real discussion about it. It just kind of became something we both understood. We did talk eventually. Like, I guess we'll take a break until the new year. Um, and we weren't sure how we wanted the podcast to look and what we wanted to move forward with. So um, we were surprised to see that there's actually been a lot of growth in our podcast since we've been away. I think we've been away for 3 months.
Yeah, September was the last episode, and now it is January.
Okay.
So yeah, like 3 or 4 months, and the listeners, a lot of you have just kinda it's been consistent, kinda surprising. We haven't been active on Instagram, we haven't been really active on Facebook or any other social media. We try to respond to messages when we can, and I know we've been lax on responding on those, and I mean, sorry guys.
So, um,
We do the best we can with what we've got, and
yeah.
sometimes yeah, we are overwhelmed. We are sometimes we're not even overwhelmed, we're just whelmed, and that's enough
Yes, and I
to just
think,
kinda step away.
having this hobby basically that we created and a space for you guys to not feel alone what you were going through and making talking about depression more accessible was so important to us. And um, I think taking a space back and really it was interesting for me because I think after a while, after 2 years of doing the podcast, you take for granted what it means to you in your daily life. And for
Mhm.
me, being able to have time just with, for example, with you, Chris, and like us talk about how are we doing actually? What have we been learning from our therapist or psychologists? What have we been learning from the people around us? What can we talk about? Where are the gaps in the information that we get from therapists or from online resources? And so it's just made me realize how much I relied on the podcast to feel like I had something that I did every week, had a rhythm going and things that I was thinking about. And it was important to take a break and I'm grateful for it. But I'm really glad to be back.
Yeah, you and me both. I've had a sort of, I mean, for lack of a better term, I've been adrift on a sea of busy work for quite a while. I've done the thing that I do every time, which is I've dove headfirst into my work. Uh, and I don't have another outlet besides that. It is my hyperfixation of hyperfixations, which I've been kind of trying to learn more about my tendency to do that, but for the most part, like, I'm still taking medication. I'm still trying to spend time with, talking with friends and occasionally doing something creative, but for the most part, I find myself adrift and completely mentally not really anywhere. So, having the podcast, having this kind of concrete thing that requires my attention, requires some focus, it requires outside the box, like, kind of thinking and feeling and actually being in touch with what I think and feel. Not having that, I think it allowed me to dive deeper into that uh almost
Fixation.
spatial, yeah, I mean spatial unawareness. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not focused on anything. The world is it's almost like a weird it's I feel like my world is watching like a vaporwave music video where it's just there's like a bunch of static, there's a shit ton of like really bright colors, and if you were to gather any form of meaning from it, good on you. Yeah, I can't find one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that it's weird. It's a weird feeling. But
Ye
how have you been doing? We kind of just brushed over that whole "you have COVID" moment there.
Yes. So, as you may or may not know, I live, pretty secluded life up in a forest, about an hour and a half away from my work, and we have still been going into work, and there have been measures at work. They have cleaning, and we all have to wear masks, but I've still been going in, and so is my partner, and the holidays I'm not sure if that's where I got it. I could have also gotten it at, I did go to the dentist. I had to go to the dentist. I was in a lot of pain,
Shit.
and I had a really bad cavity that they had to take care of. So, it was one of those things where, like, they go in, they take your temperature, you wear a mask, and they make you rinse with a hydrogen peroxide mouthwash and do the stuff. So, it felt safe-ish, you know?
Hmm.
Anyway, so during Christmas time, we did go to my mom's because she's been kind of in our bubble. We take my dog to her house while I work. So I'd only see a very few people, but I do see my mother and stepfather and my little sister who's home for the holidays. So we came over to their house for Christmas and were there a couple days prior, and I started getting this swollen throat feeling like I had slept with a fan on my face one night, and I thought that was what it was. And
Mhm.
then I just got extremely tired after Christmas, like that weekend right after, because Christmas was on Friday, I think. And then on Sunday, I had a little itty bitty fever. It was like not
Yeah.
even what you would consider a fever. It was like 99. And for me, I run cool. I don't run at a 98.7. I think I usually run at like a 97.8 or something. Like I feel like I'm just a cooler temperatured person. And at least that's what I've learned from taking my temperature every day for the past
Oh
6
my god.
months at work.
Yeah,
Um,
seriously.
so anyway, I got a fever, and that's when my family was like, "Okay, you should guys should quarantine in the bedroom." And we got a buttload of snow up by my house, so they closed the roads. I couldn't go home anyway. And we were just like, "Oh god, please don't let it be COVID," because, my parents were older, and my little sister was gonna go back to college in a couple weeks, and she couldn't be exposed, and, my partner's mom also got sick at the same exact time, like, the same day. We both had a sore throat.
Oh,
So, we were like,
jeez.
"No way, like, it has to be a cold or a flu." You know what I mean? And my throat hurt so badly. I thought I had strep throat. I got a fever, got the aches, and work asked us to go rapid test, and we couldn't find testing anywhere. Oh my god, it was impossible
Holy
to find
crap.
anything. So they helped us
Mhm.
find something an hour, like 45 minutes away. So we waited for 4 hours in the car. Then they came over, they did a swab test, and the next day they were like, "No, you're negative for COVID." And I had also started losing my sense of taste at this point, and so I had a full fever of about 100 and like 1. I had a sore throat, I had lost my sense of taste, and I tested negative.
Mhm.
So we went home. My partner got sick too, really bad fever, sweats, exhaustion, just like absolute fatigue. And but we're like, no, it's a cold, it's a cold. New Year's came, New Year's went. He stayed quarantined. I came down and like had a sip of pisco sour with my family and then went back to bed. Um,
Mhm.
but we didn't think we had COVID. And so we were coming downstairs and like hanging out with the family, watching TV on the couch. And I was feeling like I was getting a little bit better. My fever had passed, the sore throat had passed, but I couldn't smell anything. And what I could taste was like salt or sweetness. I couldn't differentiate what it was exactly what I was eating, which was like really, you
Oh,
don't know. It's so interesting. I'm going to get to that later, but the mental health that is attached to your sense of smell and taste is extraordinary.
yeah.
So,
Wow, yeah.
so yeah, so and work, had to stay home again, and there was another like 3-day weekend, I believe, and then they were like, "Okay, you guys are still sick. Like, we want you to go get tested again. We're gonna hold a testing at our office, so we'll have you do the PCR test, which is more accurate." Because I was so frustrating because everyone was telling me like you could have gotten a false negative. It could be a false negative. I was like, no way. Like, I didn't want to believe that I had COVID, which is really
Yeah,
funny.
of course.
No, it's scary. And I was terrified to get COVID, terrified because I have terrible lungs.
Mhm.
Anyway, so we came to work. We stayed in the car and they came out to us to test us in our car. And the
Mhm.
next day it came out that we were positive. We tested positive. And it was kind of that weird feeling where your whole body suddenly feels hypersensitive, like the anxiety that drops into your body. And it's just like adrenaline. Like all your pores open up, and I felt like icy hot when I
Yeah.
found out. And I was like, "Okay, mom,
Oh,
I'm
boy.
sorry. Like, we have COVID." And she was like, "Oh shit." So she's like, "I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna have to ask you guys to go home." And I was like, "Of course, like, of course." I mean, at this point, we'd already been
Yeah.
there for like 10, I'd been sick for 10 days at this point.
Yeah.
Um, so we came home. It was such a pain in the butt because we had all this like we were both sick. We're both fatigued. And we had to clean up everything really fast and pack up the car, drive an hour and a half. Then we got stuck in traffic. There was traffic on the way home. That's a horrible accident. So it was like more like 2 hours. We get home, there's snow in my icy ass driveway that is extremely steep and like 12. I don't even know how long that driveway is. It is just like a straight uphill climb.
Yeah.
And so we had to like take loads of stuff up and then climb the stairs up to my house, and I couldn't breathe. Um, so we just took like one load up from the car, and so that was kind of our experience of how it all came out. I'm sorry if that was like drawn out, but I figured I'd paint a picture of what it
No.
was like. And then
Yeah.
um I think that I felt a lot of anger and a lot of frustration at the testing process and the fact that like we tested negative and so we socialized. I would never have come out of my room had I gotten a positive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of
And
course.
um and so I like and yes, I could have worn a mask around my house, and yes, I could have been better, and I could have washed my hands more, and I could, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course. Um but I was still angry. So I was glad though we had quarantined. So I think during our most infectious time, we hadn't gone out at all. Like we hadn't gone to the grocery store. We hadn't um, seen any friends. So I hadn't gone to work either. I've been out of work for like 3 weeks now. I've just been so sick, and
Yeah.
I'm more sick than he is. Um, I still can't taste very well or smell very well. And I got really depressed. And it's interesting because COVID-19 is known for causing and bringing out mental health issues. Now, they don't know if it's connected. They don't know for sure if it's connected just to like the stigma of having COVID-19 or if it actually elicits like the symptoms are mental illness for some people.
Mhm.
I do know that about 9,000 people or more have forever lost their sense of smell and taste from COVID-19.
Jesus.
Um, I know that it's I feel like something has been taken away from me. It's a really weird way to describe it, but it's like all of a sudden, when your hands go numb and suddenly you can't feel from out of your hands. It's like I can't smell. I can't smell my shampoo. I can't smell the coffee in the morning. I can't smell my blankets or the laundry detergent. And it's like all these little moments, I can't smell if there's a gas go like my gas burners are on and I left the gas going. I can't smell if there's smoke. I don't have those indicators to like so that brings an anxiety into my life.
Yeah.
Our burners weren't lighting, and so we were just like leaking gas into the kitchen upstairs. And we were like being very careful about it, but still like I had to keep double checking stuff because I couldn't smell if there was something wrong. And then not being able to taste, when you're sick and you're miserable and you miss your friends and like the world is falling apart and political parties are clashing online and everywhere you look is sad and you just want to eat something delicious because it makes you feel better. Whatever soup you go
Yeah.
to when you're sick or your tea and you drink it and you can't taste it or it tastes wrong. So for a long time,
Yeah.
coffee, it only tasted like battery acid. Like, it just tasted bitter, 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 like, not like coffee at all. Like I was putting poison in my mouth. I couldn't drink it.
It's bitter bean juice.
Yeah, it was like parts of my tongue were numb, literally. I mean,
Mhm.
I ate like, the other day, I ate a sweet roll, and my tongue literally picked up no taste at all. It was like I had gone to the dentist and gotten my tongue ejected, and I couldn't taste anything. And so for me, it was like these comforts, these creature comforts that I just totally take for granted. And I know that like when some people have the flu or the cold, you lose it a little. I've never lost it like this before. And there's this impending fear of what if it never comes back? What if I never taste anything again? Or I never taste fully again? Or I never smell fully again? Yeah, the other day, because both my partner
Mhm.
and I can't smell anything, the other day, I got this, like, sudden hint of BO, like, really strong BO, and I was like, "Oh my god, I haven't put deodorant on in, like, 5 days, and neither has my partner because we can't smell anything. We're not seeing anybody," and it just, like, hit my nose and it was gone,
Oh.
and I was like, "We need to take a shower, and we need to put deodorant on."
Oh, no.
But for
Oh my
me
god.
with what I'm dealing with right now is I'm just really like there's a mental aspect to this where I'm afraid because at any time COVID can turn. Like it can be a very quick rapid decline. And so even
Yeah.
though the first couple weeks like everyone's like, "Oh no, I think you got through the worst of it." Like the last few days I've been having a really hard time breathing. And I run out of breath faster. Um and I don't know if it's anxiety or if I literally can't breathe very well.
Mhm.
Because I do get, like, all colds I get, all flus, they always, like, turn into bronchitis or something, like, I have terrible lungs, they always get infected. Um, so I'm afraid all the time, like, I try to push it out of my mind, but I get nervous and, um, God, just with everything that's going on, and it's like I can't see anybody, not that I would if I was sick, but, just, like, it just feels lonely and scary, and I'm not really supposed to, like, talk about it with a lot of people because I don't think that, like, I don't wanna freak anybody out. I didn't post it on Facebook or
Yeah.
anything. Um,
No, I know.
I don't think really anybody knows about it in my personal life. I just kind of went dark for a while, and a lot of people knew that I was really sick, but they didn't know what it was. So,
Yeah.
um
Because nobody wants to assume the worst.
yeah, and exactly, and I don't wanna and there is an ugly stigma where it's like, well, then
Mhm.
if you got COVID-19, you did something wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you
There's
didn't get COVID-19 do it like, you can't get COVID-19 if you wear a mask and wash your hands and stay away from everybody. And the
yeah.
reality is, like, sure, but I still have to make money. I still need to, like, go to work, and my partner has
Mhm.
to work as well. So,
Yep.
um, even though every day when we go in, we take our temperatures and we have hand washing breaks and we sanitize our stations, and I wasn't hanging out with anybody or going out to places. I didn't even go grocery shopping. I still got it.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, even in the best case scenario, like it doesn't matter. It any contact tracing. There's people who are just getting it and they have no idea why. It just happens.
Yeah.
Or, like you said, you do everything right and it still happens. There's a lot of that just going around. And I have, like, a genuinely small bubble. I have the office, and I have my grandma, and that's it. That is literally the extent, and then I think about it more, and I go, "Well, no, I went to the grocery store. I got gas the other day." You can start coming up with every single little place and locale and anywhere that anyone could just breathe in the wrong direction.
Yep.
Mental health wise, that's a nightmare. That is
Yep.
genuine paranoia. Like,
Yep.
you can give yourself paranoia just thinking about, well, I that one person, they were sniffling and their mask was under their nose, and oh, that person, they went to that place and that place had, like, somebody who got yeah, of course. We're gonna kill ourselves worrying about it
I think
to
it the hard
death.
yeah, and another hard thing is, though, is, like, when you get it, you have to trace back where were you,
Mhm.
that first week where you might not have been showing symptoms, and who did you talk to? And then I had to make phone
Yeah.
calls. I had to call people and, and let them know that, "Hey, I have COVID-19, I tested positive, and I know that when I saw you, I was wearing a mask, but you might wanna get tested or at least, like, take
Mhm.
get quarantined for the next 7 to 14 days, and don't take a
14 days.
yeah, don't take a rapid test, take a PCR test. Takes longer, but,
Mhm.
it was like it was like I got an STD or something, and I had to contact, my past relationships,
Yeah.
and the holidays were hard this year, um, and then getting COVID-19 literally on Christmas Day, basically, is showing symptoms on Christmas Day, and then, everything
Mhm.
with the political atmosphere, it's been a really bizarre time, and I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that I know stuff about mental health because I've been reading about how many people are, um, ending their lives during this time, and it's like so many people don't know how to handle when they go downhill, or they don't have a people they can reach out to because they've been quarantined and they don't know how to, like, contact or whatever, and I feel very fortunate that I have done so much work that when this all hit, when this all started happening, I have some resources available to me, um,
Yeah.
this podcast being one of them. I've been going back to therapy and stuff too. It's just so necessary. There was a time there earlier, I think we did a podcast, episode on it. I was not doing well. I was not doing well at all. I'd lost a very close friend. I was
Mhm.
wanting to, you know, and I reached out to some people and they brought me into an online depression support group. And I only went once, but just that once made a really big impact for me. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think just for all of you guys out there who are going through it and trying to ignore it, I don't think ignoring it's the way to go. Like, treat yourself with care right now.
Yeah, seriously. It's the it's such a weird time in all of our lives. I mean, the political bullshit going on, the social bullshit going on, the philosophical, the religious, the sociological, it's everywhere. It's everywhere and nowhere. It's Schrodinger's Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Like, it is both the worst of times and it's not even anywhere near the best of times, but there's so much out there that we can't even see the forest for the trees at this point. I feel so disconnected from I mean, I was feeling disconnected from everyone last year in general,
Yeah.
but I don't feel like reaching out for a life raft hardly. I'm just kind of like wading in the ocean and I'm okay with it. I That's what scares me the most is the fact that I'm somehow like mentally I'm definitely not great. I'm not doing my best, but I'm not really trying to. You know
You're
what I
just kind
mean?
of trying to stay above
Well,
water.
I can't even say I'm trying. I just am above water.
Yeah.
It's I feel like I should be worse. And I mean, medication probably has something to do with that. I just had my check in with my psychiatrist yesterday, and I basically said, "Yeah, I don't know what these are doing for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're doing anything or if they're doing nothing, but I'm here,
Yeah.
and I guess I'm doing okay." And he basically said, like, "Well, you got to get on that therapy train again." Because there's only so much that could be done with, medication. I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
What happened with the therapy train? Speaking of trains.
Uh, my therapist kinda just fell off the face of the earth. I haven't reached out to them, uh, and I don't know, part of me was kind of worrying, but another part of me is just kinda like, "Well, I might be better off just looking for someone different."
Mm,
So,
yeah.
I just wasn't clicking with them anymore. I was getting into more of a philosophical thought pattern debate of just like, well, I'm not really getting anything out of these sessions other than conversation. I can get that anywhere.
Yeah.
So, no, I need something different. So, that'll be something I'll be working on this year is trying to find a better therapist. But I
Good for
don't
you.
know. I mean, yeah, that's I'm not giving up. I mean, there's that.
I've been
That's
with
something
my
to be ha
therapist, I think, for
ha
about 7 years. Sorry to cut you
Yeah,
off.
I need No, no, you're good. It's funny, my another friend of mine was talking to me about their therapist is, like, the perfect person for them, and I'm like, "Well, I think I just might not be, I don't know. Finding a therapist is like dating. I haven't had much luck with that either." So
I mean, I went to about, I don't know, 6 different therapists before I found mine.
yeah, no, I've been to quite a number of therapists at this point, and every single time I've gone, it's inevitably like I just kind of go, nah, I'm
Maybe you
out.
should go to mine. I wonder if you can. I know that, like,
Uh,
we're friends, but I'm telling you, man, she changed my life.
I mean, I would love to. I just gotta find somebody who takes my insurance.
Yes, the health
Uh,
insurance.
yeah, which honestly, an entire we could do an episode just complaining about health insurance in this country, but
It gives me
it's
anxiety
whatever,
even
it's fine.
thinking about it. I don't
Seriously,
wanna talk
no.
about it.
I mean, just now that you gotta deal with all this health crap, like,
Mhm.
ugh, fucking A. It's I don't know. Everybody listening, I know that you're all going through some variation of all of this nonsense. Like, I can't even fathom for our international listeners what it must be like to see America in flames the way it is right now.
And it's
It's
really
such
sad and
a
painful, man.
yeah, right? Like,
At a time when we
I
really could use being close together, we're really far apart.
yeah, honestly.
Fighting. Too much fighting.
Yeah. It's unnecessary. We are motes of dust floating through a pale blue dot in the cosmos. We can be better than this. And we should be better than this. And we
I
will be
agree.
better than this.
That's right. And we're gonna take you all with us.
Damn right. So, 2021 gang, this year starting out pretty interesting. I mean, I know this millennium is old enough to drink now, but it does not need to go this fucking hard this early. So let's get it a glass of water and some Pedialyte for the morning.
Happy New Year, you guys. We're so glad to be back. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. And we will talk to you next week.
Yes, as always, follow us on Instagram. We'll be posting, doing stuff on that again. We have a
Yay.
Facebook. We have an email, mailbag at howareyoholdingup.com. We still
We
have the
do.
website. It has not been touched.
We're trying so hard. We do have a Patreon, but it's been deactivated for a while just because we weren't doing any content. So we will start that back up again. And
Yes.
one of those fun tiers has Discord hangout time with us, which we will be doing.
Yep, we've got no other options now. So Discord it is. So either way, you all take care of yourselves. We will see you next week.
And as always,
Don't
don't tell
tell
us
us
to
to
just
just
get
get
over
over
it.
it.